All right, good evening. Calling to order the regular CUSD Board of Education for August 28th, 2025. Welcome, everyone. First item on the agenda is roll call.
Trustee Zhao.
Here.
Trustee Chow.
Present.
Trustee Leon.
Here.
Trustee Madhato.
Yeah.
Trustee Liu.
Here, all right, thank you. All right, the next item is a board agenda approval. Could I get a motion, please?
A motion to approve.
Eva, in a second.
I'll second.
Thanks, Satish.
Trustee Zhao.
Aye.
Trustee Chow.
Aye.
Trustee Leon.
Aye.
Trustee Madhato.
Aye.
Trustee Liu.
Aye. All right, with that then, we'll move on to item B. It's our board study session on the board policies. So
Thank you. So we are doing a little bit different this time as we started about last year. We started only bringing our board policies at our board advances. But this year, as we made that shift into Gamut and we did that full adoption last spring, we did at the very end of the year, we didn't have any more board meetings. CSB had actually released their next grouping of board policies in June. So we're bringing those forward now so we can stay up to date with all of our board policies, and then we'll continue to do that in October at our board advance. So there were 22 board policies that CSBA released in June, and then we are actually bringing a couple that reflect the recent changes with the Supreme case. We call it MVT. So we'll be bringing those forward as well. And Aaron will walk us through just as a reminder about when we adopt board policies from CSBA, what process they go through with. And what we're trying to stay consistent with is adopting those policies as is, but also reminding that then our administrative regulations are really where we can go in and make our own our processes that we actually apply within the district. So I think Aaron is ready to go. I can do my disclaimer again. This is our second board meeting in our new boardroom. We are trying different mics out this time. So last meeting, we did have some feedback. We're trying to avoid that. We do have cameras on now. So anyone that is watching should be able to see the board members in the camera as well as the camera as a whole. I think I filled up enough space and Aaron is ready to go.
All right. Thank you so much. As Superintendent Yao mentioned, I know in the spring, you remember our global adoption update. So we have a complete up-to-date board policy manual. So we're going to keep our keen focus on keeping it up to date with all of the CSBA updates. This is the first quarterly update that we're bringing forward from June. There was a special release that was done in August as well. So just a reminder that these policies are based from the California School Boards Association, or CSBA, and they're developed by legal and education experts who ensure they comply with the current state and federal laws, educational standards, and best practices. CSBA provides districts such as ours with updated board policies based on any changes or new laws that have been introduced. So this slide is probably familiar with you all. This is the CSBA vetting process. So there's several steps that their team goes through that we benefit from. The first of which is the legislative and legal review, second being policy analysis and drafting, internal and legal review, and then finally approval and publication, where that is then released to the districts such as ours. As Superintendent Yao mentioned, we are bringing forward 25 board policy updates. 22 are from the June update quarterly packet, and then 3 are from the special update held in August. Similar to last time, we will be presenting these policies based on topics. Our board policy manual follows the following policy numbering system. This is consistent across all CSBA board manuals. And then here is the complete update list for the June packet as well as the special packet in August. So we have a few under the the zeros, which is philosophy, goals, objectives, and comprehensive plans. 2 under the 1000s, community relations. 4 under personnel. 8, 4 under the 5000s, which is students. 6 under the 6000s, which is instruction, and then 1 under bylaws. They are color coded. The red policies indicate that this is a mandated policy. So this policy is required by state or federal law. And then we do have, I don't believe in this packet we have any conditionally mandated policies, but those policies are required if the districts meet certain conditions or participates in a specific program. So the first topic we have is technology and artificial intelligence. The first policy, district technology plan, has been updated to acknowledge both the benefits and the potential negative consequences of technological resources. It also clarifies that while state law no longer requires a technology plan, the district will maintain our own requirement for the district to develop and regularly update one. And then the second policy, policy 0441, relates to artificial intelligence. This policy establishes principles for the use of AI by both students and staff. And the district is also required to ensure that AI use is consistent with district policy and provides proactive measures to help us navigate through the ever-evolving landscape of educational technology. And I forgot to ask at the beginning of the study session if you'd like to pause after each topic to take questions and discuss, or if you prefer to go through the entire presentation. I'm open to whichever you would prefer.
I'd like to propose we stop at each section just because there are 26 of them, if that's okay with everyone. If that's the case, it seems like we're okay with this. Any questions then on this one for Aaron on these two, 440 and 441? If not, I'll go ahead and jump in. On 440, there's the district technology plan. There's a mention of a 3-year technology plan. Is the thinking that we would do one every kind of like LCAP? We do one and then we kind of stay with it, or are we thinking that we would have a plan that looks out 3 years that's updated every year? I know it gets a little bit into the execution, but I'm kind of curious what the thinking is on that.
So when it used to be required, and it was how we used to receive things like E-rate funding and a few other things, it was a plan that was a living document. So it would be routinely kept current. So that way, because technology, continues to progress and we wanted to adapt. So it's something that we'd have in place. It would be a 3-year plan, but we would be able to make, adjustments as we see.
Okay.
Because there's less, we're no longer having to align to the county office. Like, in the past, most of the districts around here aligned to the county office version of the plan, and then they had their own versions that kind of altered some things that are specific. We don't have to really follow any of those things at this point right now. It really can be, and it should be, the vision of our district specifically of how we see things and where we're at. And I absolutely think we would be using that as a plan that we would continue to, go through annually throughout the year.
All right, so after we adopt this, it sounds like then starting the school year, we will see the initial one of these. So the plan is to put this, because it talks about bringing it to the board for consideration. So this year then?
We'll be working on it.
All right, great. Thank you. Also had another one around AI, 441. And I can't find it here now that's in the, but I think there was a mention of we wouldn't want AI to replace staff, and it's really there to augment. And I certainly, I don't think we should have robot teachers and all that. And I think certainly for instruction, we certainly want to have that human touch. But then I wonder if this is the intent that this would apply to back end work. I guess the example I'm thinking about are like travel agents, right? I remember when you used to go somewhere to buy a ticket and it's all handwritten out. Now it's all done online. And would a policy like that prevent us from making that kind of adjustment, I guess, is we would talk a bit about the intent of that part. So just to be clear, I'm not
Yeah.
looking for robot
So-
teachers and all that.
Yeah. So I think as we look at it for our district, you know, as we adopt the general board policies, it would be something that we would be working on as an AR if we're looking at specifically on how and what we see it as, you know, adjusting or altering within our environment. But ultimately, it would also have to align with things like with the negotiations and how things are aligned in there. Our goal right now and everything that we've been doing around AI has been more on the how these tools can be a supplemental enhancement and additional features or tools that can save on time or enhance, you know, current work that's being produced. But it's all been driven by the individual. So it's driven by the individual. We're not at the point, and we haven't had those conversations of what happens when there's potentially tools that get to the AGI level or anything like that. We're not at that point in the conversation at all.
Great, thanks. Thanks for that clarification. Those were the questions I had. If there aren't any, oh, Ava, please.
Are we doing comments yet, or
Uh,
are we doing comments later?
the-
I think questions and comments
Yeah, I
could
think
probably
questions and
run
comments.
Then
together.
Go ahead.
I'll start with my question then. Okay. By the way, the reference page 2 is when you're talking about the staff-centered, AI should be used as a tool to augment and support rather than replace staff in the performance of their duties and responsibilities. My question to you, Mahmoud, is the ethical use and transparency.
Yeah.
Does any of this address AI being used in lieu of student work in terms of like the plagiarism part of it? This is like the thing that I see as a teacher.
The academic honesty policy kind of it talks to that. It kind of refers to that. And one of the first things, just as and I know we talked about it before during I think during a few different presentations, we had around transparency and making sure that there's an understanding about how you're responsible for what you're putting out there. The way we've been approaching is saying that it doesn't matter if you're a student, if you're a staff member, if teacher, it doesn't matter your position. It's really all the same about how you're using these tools and what you're putting out has to be something that's been vetted by the individual and has to be, and if it's been used for these tools, it should be also in a way cited. I don't know if cited is going to be the right word that people start to use for AI enhanced content, but it has to be transparent and visible that this is how it's done. Any communication that goes out to families or if student work comes in, there are tools now that look for and detect things like plagiarism and things like that. But ultimately, they're not going to be perfect. So it's going to come down to the academic honesty policy and ensuring that that continues to get followed, because kids will always find ways to cheat and they'll always find ways that gets around the systems, and we have to always just continue to adapt. But also it's about our staff too, and making sure that when they're using these tools, they're using them in a transparent and honest way.
Yeah, I'm thinking of like it's almost like the battle, like the next version of
Yes.
AI is going to come up
Absolutely.
and trump whatever tool that you use. But how can we use those tools in a way that we can still use it as a useful tool, but also still manage our students to thrive in their creativity?
Yeah.
Thanks.
All right, anyone else? If not, okay, let's go on to the next section. Thank you.
Okay, the next topic is Title IX. We do have 7 different policies we're bringing forward from the quarterly update packet. And a major driver for these changes is the new court decision, Tennessee versus Cardona. This decision vacated the Title IX regulations that were set to take effect on August 1st, 2024. As a result, the Office of Civil Rights will now enforce Title IX based on the regulations that were in place prior to August 1, 2024. Additionally, there's a new law, SB 1137, which was passed in 2024, which has broadened the definition of prohibit discrimination. Our policies now reflect that discrimination is unlawful, not only based on a single protected class, but also on the combination of 2 or more protected bases. This ensures that we as a district are addressing more complex forms of discrimination. So all of the Title IX policies are intended to provide protection from discrimination, as mentioned prior. Listed here is the timeline of events in terms of Title IX. So in April 2024, state and federal law guidance changes took effect in August 2024. And then in January 2025, the court opinion on Tennessee versus Cardona reverted back to previous 2020 regulations in terms of Title IX. And then in June of 2025, CSBA's packet, which we're reviewing today, updates reflect the impact from the January 2025 court opinion. So again, there were changes in law, and then there are changes back. So now we're reverting back to previous editions of Title IX. So this is a table that just kind of outlines some of the differences, the key foundational differences from the 2024 regulations, which lasted approximately 6 months, and then the 2020 regulations, which will now become the current regulations. So those include not having a definition of sex, that lactation was not included for the purposes of sex discrimination. And then it also requires grievance procedures for complaints alleging sexual harassment as defined in Title IX. And the regulations are to be used for conduct between 8/14/2020 and 7/31/2024, and then after 1/9/2025. And then we would be consulting with legal for any conduct related to within the dates of 8/1/2024 and 1/9/2025. Some other key differences and changes in law. There are changes to the policy titles. We now have BP 5145.7, sexual harassment, which was formerly known as sexual discrimination and sex-based harassment. And then also the employee-related board policies. They were formerly, again, sexual harassment. They're now sexual harassment, and they were formerly known as sex discrimination and sex-based harassment. Some other updates were the materials related to sex discrimination. They also provided some clarification, including a list of actual or perceived characteristics that may serve as a basis for unlawful discrimination in educational programs and activities. And then they also reflect the changes in law. So we have Assembly Bill 3074, which prohibits the use of derogatory Native American terms. Senate Bill 939, which includes resources related to neurodiversity to be readily accessible on the district's website. Senate Bill 1100, unlawful employment practice to include in job advertisement, posting, application, and other material, the applicant is required to have a district license, driver's license. And then finally, Assembly Bill 1137, which prohibited discrimination, includes a combination, as I mentioned, of 2 or more protected bases. So we'll pause there and take any questions related to Title IX.
Yeah, thanks. Any questions from the board or comments? Going once, twice?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, we've got one.
Okay, I have a question about the Title IX. We have a brief period for 6 months that with 2024 federal law that is applied to us, and so I'm wondering whether there's any actual impact, like any investigation or complaints or whatever that was ruled under that temporary law.
I don't know off the top of my head, but that's certainly something we could look into. There is that defined time period as listed on this chart about which Title IX law to follow the regulations. There's different time periods.
And if there is a time when it was in a gray area. And so what the recommendation is, if any of the complaints come between that time period prior to that January 1, and I believe it's October then you would reach out to legal to say which law do we apply, what board policy applies to it, and then they would help guide us through there. So it's a very small window before the new old policies came into effect.
Okay, I see. So did we receive any things in the previous year?
We would have
Wow,
to
it's
go back
okay.
and check, but I believe if we've already resolved that complaint policy, we wouldn't be required to go back and readdress out
Okay.
complaint if it had already been closed out or
Okay, so
resolved.
there's no lingering issue. Okay. All right. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Mhm. Okay, cool. Thank you.
Thanks. Anyone else? Okay, I think we can move on then. Thanks, Aaron.
Okay, the next topic we have is information and notification. We do have 6 different policies. The first one, 0450, which is comprehensive safety plan. The introduction statement was updated to include high expectations for both student and staff conduct. It was also revised to include staff training on the comprehensive school safety plan, which is in alignment with new legislative requirements. BP 1113 relates to district and school websites. It's reflected to include the importance of district and school websites for communication, and that also updated in accordance with a new law, AB 1785, which occurred in 2024. Which prohibits districts from publicly posting online certain information about elected or appointed officials without their written consent. The following 3 policies, which relate to the different classifications of staff, all were updated and relate to employee notifications. There was just minor language changes to those. Next, we have the release of directory information, which is 5125.1. And this information can now only be included in governing board meeting minutes as specified in board bylaw 9324. So for example, if there were student presentations, we would only be able to release directory information. The next policy, 5145.6, parent guardian notifications, had some minor language updates. And then finally, BB 9011, the disclosure of confidential and privileged information. The definition of confidential information expanded to include information from closed sessions and the district attorney, but not information already made public. And then also the bylaws now have clearer consequences for board members who threaten to or disclose confidential information for personal gain.
All right, please go ahead.
I did have a quick question about the directory information. So I'm not totally sure because I was reading the language on it. It sounds like it's more about like recruitment for high schoolers, like colleges, military recruiters, prospective employers. And so can you help me understand, like, so when you're saying like a student comes to the board meeting, what we release is directory information, but where is that being released? Like
For example, in board meeting minutes, we don't do this at present anyway. But if there were boards in California who were releasing non-directory information about students, they would need to now only release directory information, which, for example, includes student name. But if they were to list, I don't know, student name, grade level, teacher, more personable, identifiable information, they would not be able to do so. We do not do that.
So if they posted a picture, there was a presentation by students, a presentation, maybe a picture, and underneath they were providing information about that.
Okay, like name, school. Yeah, okay, got it. Okay, all right. Thank you.
Thanks. Anyone else? Ava.
Yes, also board policy 5125.1. Hannah, just clarifying, is it saying that so what is exactly directory information? Because typically that information is not made public, right? Like a student's name, full name, right? And what school they go to or who their teacher is.
Part of what you're saying is directory information. Student name is considered directory information. California Ed Code defines the categories of what directory information is.
Right.
Some of what you're saying is not directory information. For example, the teacher, they have their grade level, that's not directory information. So that cannot be released without parental consent.
Okay, so they're saying that they're just releasing the student name and school,
Not school.
just their name.
Mhm.
And if the parent doesn't want the child's name to be released, they have to contact.
Yes, parents have the right to opt their child out of directory information. This is done through our opening day packet. Parents are provided with that right and have directions on how to opt their child out of directory information.
So if they already opt out, that's taken care of then.
Correct.
Okay, clarifying that. Thank you.
So I think in the same line, and then like in the first day packet, is it been now updated? I remember like we seeing it like do not publish our pictures and those kind of things. So some language has been changed in that now, so based on this, or is it already there kind of?
So this is not, the board policy here is not changing what is student directory information. It's changing what and where that information is allowed to be used. So our practices have not changed because California Ed Code has not changed what student directory information is.
So based on these things, we need not do any major changes in our first day package now.
There are no changes required in our first day packet, correct?
And one time if they say yes or no kind of things there, based on that thing, all the actions will be taken kind of.
That's correct.
Anyone else? Oh, please.
Can I feel like I know we're kind of beating a dead horse here, but just want to make sure. So, because I guess in terms of protecting students' privacy, the way that this board policy is being presented to us right now, it's more restrictive than what it was before. Is that how I'm understanding it? Because
I think it's
not
providing clarification.
okay.
It's not being more or less restrictive because what is student information, directory information has not changed.
Okay.
Just
And the student directory information is something that is, are we talking about like, because there isn't really a student directory that our families go into and look up kids and things like that, right? It's more, are we talking more about like the internal database system? Is that like
No.
what is the public facing student directory?
it would be student name, student phone number,
But is that
last attended school. That these are all defined by Ed Code. These are not something we choose.
it's not like a directory, like a paper directory
No,
that's like in the office.
Yeah.
Like I think that's what we all think of when we
I
think
think-
of student directory. And so maybe that like we're talking about like an internal system that's accessible
well,
to administrators or
it's
something
not
like that.
internal. That
Okay.
because administrators have access to full student information, right? So student directory information is what California Ed Code defines as information that is generally safe to disclose and does not require parental consent for disclosure. So it has nothing to do with our internal systems. It's public facing information.
But it's not like anybody can just look that up.
We don't have a list, for example, of this is our, directory student information. People have to make requests to receive it. And then we do have stipulations in terms of how that data is used, as well as some data privacy stipulations in terms of how it will be shared, what devices it will be shared with, et cetera.
Okay. And are there also currently policies or procedures in place to prevent that information from, let's say, going to a federal agency that
I know the question you're asking. We don't collect, immigration status of students. That's not something that's released. So this is again defined by Ed Code of what could be released without parental consent. So California Ed Code defines that for us.
Great, thank you very much.
Thanks. Anyone else? Long?
Some clarification question. And do we currently publish those the student directory information?
No, we do not currently publish student directory information. We to Trustee Leong's question, we don't have, a link on our website that lists the student directory information. It has to be requested. And it has to be requested by certain organizations. For example, one type of organization that requests it is our parent organizations or other school connected organizations when they're trying to account for walkathon, laps being walked, or making sure, each student has a label for the PTA art show. So we as a school district determine, when the question comes in for the release, determine, who is this organization, how it will be used. But again, the California Ed Code defines what that is, but we choose if the intent and the purpose and the requirements that we have in place for safekeeping that directory information are being conducted appropriately by the requester.
Okay, I see. So say if there's a parent and who asked to say the student directory information for the entire school, so it probably can deny.
Well, I don't think it would be just a general parent. There would have to be purpose behind that. Are they, is it the school connected organization?
Mhm.
Is it, for example, the yearbook?
Yeah.
Things of that nature.
Okay, I see. Thank you.
Great, thanks. Ava.
Additional question, if you don't mind. Does the directory of, I guess because we're asking about this, is it inclusive of the parent names and linking the parent names to student names?
Incorrect. No.
Okay,
Directory information is only student information
student information.
as defined by California Ed
Nothing
Code.
to parent.
Parent name is not
Okay.
part of student directory information as defined by Ed Code. Correct.
Can you tell me which Ed Code it is?
I do not know off the top
Okay,
of my
I'll
head,
try
but I'm
looking it.
certainly get it back to you. But
Okay. All right, anyone else? If not, I have two questions. One is on the 1113, the district school website. I was just wondering, it's obviously this would apply to our website, cusdka.org. Would it apply to like social media sites that the district operates? Let's say our Facebook page. With that, I'm just wondering generally, how would that be interpreted? Would that be in scope of this policy or not?
I do not believe that would fall under the scope of this policy. That would relate more closely to the Brown Act.
Got it. Okay. All right. Great. Thanks. The second question is around the parental notification 5145.6. So there's a section in there that talks about if 15% students different language. I'm just wondering, does that apply? I guess we're adopting it. Are we in that situation right now where we have populations that are over 15% that speak a separate, primary language? And how would that affect our communication?
Mm-hmm. One of the main reasons we use the platform that we do to send out our annual notification allows for language translation. So we are meeting that requirement.
Okay. So everything we send out are in digital form, therefore they're able to use that platform.
Yes, that's correct.
Okay, great. Thank you. Okay, those are the ones I had. If there are no other questions or comments, let's proceed. Thank you.
Okay, moving on to our next topic, which is instruction. The first three policies reflect the new Supreme Court decision in Mahmood versus Taylor, which requires districts to provide notice and an opportunity to opt out. For parents to opt out regarding LGBTQ plus instructional content and storybooks that may interfere with their child's religious development. So those three policies are policy 6141.2, recognition of religious beliefs and customs, policy 6142.1, sexual health and HIV AIDS prevention instruction, and board policy 6142.8, comprehensive health education. So all of these policies reflect that new Supreme Court decision in Mahmood versus Taylor, which requires districts to provide parents with the opportunity to opt out based on their children's religious development. It also ensures that students who have been opted out of instruction for religious reasons must be given an alternative educational activity and are protected from disciplinary action or academic penalties. And then specific to 6142.1, there is a new section which is titled General Criteria for Instruction and Materials. This was added to this policy, moving it from the AR because it is more appropriately placed within a board policy. And then we also have a policy 6142.91, which relates to reading and language arts instruction. It now includes listening, speaking, and composition as essential communication skills in the opening statement, and clarifies that instructional materials must meet or exceed Common Core state standards. There's also a new section that's been added, screening for risk of reading difficulties, requires the board to adopt screening tools and annually assess students in kindergarten through second grade, which we have already begun to do so this school year. And then it also mandates that parents be informed and that staff administering the screenings are promptly trained, which we also have met this school year.
All right, any questions or comments from the board on this section? No.
I can ask
Okay,
one that,
thanks, Natish.
yeah, so on these topics, so this will be basically communicated well in advance, or so how does the parent know that these are the things going to be taught, or kind of thing, or these are changes kind of thing? So would there be a communication prior to that, or?
Sure. So in our opening day packet, we did list the topics that are within our board adopted curriculum, which for the most part fall under the social studies curriculum. So we did list all of those lessons, and we worked very closely with our curriculum provider, TCI, and we're able to identify those areas. We did include in the opening day packet how parents can go about making the choice to opt out their child and how to contact their principal. If teachers have other lessons that meet this opt-out requirement, they are to work with their school principal to go through our supplemental materials checklist and policy, because again, they are supplemental to the board adopted curriculum. If approved by the principal, then the principal does have that opt out, that it's in alignment with the Mahmood versus Taylor requirements that is sent to parents. Parents are offered a time to come and view the material, view the books, etc. It has some information about the lesson and what standards it meets and why it meets the requirements of the opt-out. And then it lists how parents can communicate that right to opt out their child based on the religious development of their child.
That's good. And opening day packets are fine-tuned for specific grades, or it's a common thing it's a general thing, K to 8, it's the same thing packet, or at least the elementary will be the same packet which goes, or for each grade it's a different?
There is an elementary packet and then there is a middle school packet. But the information on Mahmood versus Taylor is consistent across both packets, and it does list all of the different lessons within the social studies curriculum that would meet this requirement of Mahmood versus Taylor.
And the opening day packets now extends for even TK?
That's correct, yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks. Long.
Say when a parent who's already submitted the open day packet, and do they still have access to it?
Yes, they do. And it's also publicly available on our website as well.
Okay, cool. Thank you.
Okay,
I have a comment, not a question.
sure, it's fine. I think we're just doing them all together, so.
I mean, first, I know that in staff has already given us a lot of information on all the procedures and processes that have been put in place since this new court decision. And I've appreciated getting all of the info, getting the opt-out form, seeing the FAQs and seeing the questions that teachers and staff are asking. So thoughtful, so comprehensive, and really wanting to do everything we can to both educate but also protect students, protect families. And I think it makes me sad. It makes me so sad that we're having to adopt this policy as part of this thing. And I guess I just wanted to, say, I think, and I say this as a parent, I understand what it is to be nervous about what your kids are learning. I understand what that is to have that fear and want to always protect your kids. And we know this week has been just awful in terms of school shootings, in terms of parents feeling nervous about sending their kids on campus. But in trying to protect your kids by not letting them learn something, you're just making it unsafe for other children and for other families. And I don't know, I just want to say that because I don't think we should just, make a decision without that being said. I understand, from a federal mandate, from all of these things that are happening, that what we need to do, and I've appreciated the way administration has gone about it in a way to make it as inclusive as possible, in a way to continue to support our teachers and support all of our families. But it's sad to me.
Thanks. Please, Ava.
Mine's more an observation / comment. It seems like these new regulations are kind of providing opportunity for people to opt out or exclude from certain curriculum. And it's like, as an educator, we're always trying to be more inclusive. And I feel like this is going in the opposite direction of that. And we as a school district should be continuing to provide a space of inclusion and be accepting of all students. And it feels like I want us to encourage and continue doing that, providing resources and materials that are inclusive to all of our students. But this is giving opportunity for people to opt out of that opportunity of a specific class or gender preference, which is protected under Ed Code 200, Ed Code 220, and 215. So I just want to make sure that we are going to continue to be an inclusive school and having curriculum that is inclusive and having environments that are. So thanks.
Yeah, thank you, Ava. Any other questions or comments from the board? Please, Long.
Your mic.
Yeah, I read about say our training material to the teacher and talked with Stacy about that, and say I think we did a very good job on the training materials. And Stacy also mentioned well, our material are actually many other school districts are trying to borrow our material. So that's a great thing. So we really did a great job, and I really appreciate that.
Thanks. Okay, with that then, I think let's go on to the next section, Erin.
Okay, we've reached our final topic, which is titled Other Updates because they didn't really fit anywhere else. So we have BP 0420.1, which is charter school authorization. And it extends the prohibition on approving new charter schools offering non-classroom based instruction until January 1, 2026. And then also there were material revisions to charter, again, moved from this policy from a different one as it is more appropriate. And then we have BP 6145.2, which relates to athletic competition. It incorporates the new law AB 3074, which prohibits public schools from using the term Redskins or other derogatory Native American mascots and requires schools to change those names by 2028. 2029. CUSD does not have any of those mascots that would meet that requirement. And then it does require districts to post a standardized form that relates to the California Interscholastic Federation. This piece relates to high school. So the pieces of the policy that point to CIF would not be in our policy because we are a K-8 school district. And then it also requires written emergency plans for athletic events to include specific procedures for concussions, heat illness, and then also provide coaches and trainers with relevant training.
Okay, thank you. Comments or questions from the board on this section? Okay.
Yeah, I noticed in our school district, we do not have a charter school. And so I'm wondering, say, whether it's because, say, we did a good job and parents just trust us on education, or is that, say, some other reasons? Okay, you have
I
any
don't know
idea?
that we have an answer to that, but I like your first assumption that we're doing a good job. I'll go with that one. Yeah, we just haven't had any requests.
Okay, cool. Thank you.
So, okay, so I think you have already asked most of my part on that, but the second part on that is, since we don't have a charter school, is it applicable for us now? Or when you're suggesting, when we say that this policy needs to be.
Well, I think with any policy, it's good to have it in place because we don't know what's going to happen in the future or when it might come forward. And so this way we already have it in place. If something were to arise, we have a policy to refer back to versus having to come forward and adopt something midstream.
Okay, got it. Thanks.
All right. Any other questions or comments from the board here? Okay, no, okay. I think we're back to you, Aaron.
Okay, that concludes all of the updates.
All right. And so the intent then, would this come back at the next board meeting?
It will. We'll bring it back on consent.
Consent for the next board meeting for
Yes.
adoption. All right. Great. With that then, I think we had scheduled the open session to, or not the open, I guess the regular session to start at 6. So we'll go ahead, this meeting will stand in recess till 6 o'clock. Thanks, everyone. Good evening, everyone. At this time, we're going to go ahead and reconvene our meeting. So we're on item C1, flag salute. So please rise. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Please be seated. Okay, for the next item, C2, we have guests from Scouting America. So Superintendent Yao, if you could introduce our guests.
Absolutely. So it's a pleasure tonight to have some special guests here. I'd like to introduce Aaron Rhodes and Steve Solberg, who are going to share with us Scouting America. We also have several of their PAC members here. And I understand most of them are from Muir Elementary or Lincoln Elementary. And so they're going to share information about Scouting America. And so I'd like to invite our guests up to the microphone.
Take it away.
Hey, welcome, gentlemen.
I'll try not to break the microphone. First off, thank you all for having us here tonight. It's a pleasure to get to come and talk to you about scouting and the things that we're doing for our youth. So we are part of Silicon Valley Monterey Bay Council. Otherwise, on other slides, you'll see it shortened to SVMBC is the just quick moniker we use. Silicon Valley Monterey Bay Council serves over 11,000 youth last year, and we're continuing to grow and look for larger numbers of our membership. Through Community and Eagle Scout Service Project last year, we totaled over 200,000 hours of community service and over 300 Eagle Scouts. We currently serve 4 counties in the area: Santa Clara, Santa Cruz, San Benito, and Monterey counties. And of those, we are subdivided into 7 districts. So Santa Clara County consists of the Polaris District, Pioneer, Coyote Creek, Quicksilver, and then Santa Cruz is Loma Prieta, and then the San Benito District and Santa Lucia districts down south. So your school district is a part of the Polaris District of our council. Within Polaris itself, we serve over 2,100 youth in 63 units, whether that be a Cub Scout pack for youth ranging from ages 5 to 10, or our Scouts BSA troops that are 11 to 18. Currently, we have youth in our units from every one of the Cupertino schools. So you are well represented. On the screen and the slides, we have what shows our district map with the Cupertino schools highlighted right in the middle, with a number, there are 29 total units consisting within that school district boundary. So I'm going to let Mr. Solberg, our Director of Field Service, take the next part.
Thank you, Aaron.
Big button.
Big button. Aaron was great enough to introduce our uniform and what we look like and who we are. I'm here to tell you about who we are as the umbrella organization. And the quick show of hands, who is familiar with the Boy Scouts of America? We used to be called Boy Scouts of America. Now we are called Scouting America. We've changed our name. We are not a camping organization. We are an organization that is interested in youth development. In our name change, it helps represent that we now serve everyone, boys and girls, kindergarten up to age 18. We serve children regardless of race and gender and sexual orientation, ethnicity. In fact, we are proud that this Scout Council is one of the most diverse councils in the nation. The programs we offer are all age specific and grade appropriate. We've got 3 primary programs that we run. Cub Scouting for younger children, like Aaron said, ages 5 to 10. We have the more renowned Scouts BSA, or what used to be called the Boy Scout program, for boys and girls 11 to age 18, where we do the majority of our camping, and Scouts Earn Eagle. We have venturing and Sea Scouts and others. Following me, my colleague Mark McCadden will tell you about some new programs we have coming up. But by saying that we are not a camping organization, we're a youth development organization, what we really strive to do is to develop character in children, character, respect, responsibility, and such. In our fast-moving presentation, now I'm going to turn it over to Mark and let him speak. The big button. Big button.
So I'm the Director of Philanthropy and Strategic Initiatives for the Council. So my job, or in my department's job, is to try to find ways that we can serve more and more young person in creative ways we can do it. Our first initiative, and the one we're most proud of, we just launched last school year in the fall. It's our Special Needs and Abilities Awareness Scouting Program. It is a program designed with the intent that every young person should have the opportunity to participate in scouting. Scouting, in theory, is for everyone, right? So there's a very underserved population. And because of the nature of the population, what we created was a program where we take program specialists into the schools. So it's not your traditional unit. So both things I'm talking about will not be the traditional unit. Both will be in-school programs. So we take program specialists, deliver them into the schools to serve these kids. And so this program is provided through a visionary grant. So it's provided at no cost to the schools. We do ask the schools to help with program aides or classroom staff, that type of thing. Second program we have is called Character Counts. And that was devised out of the premise that traditional scouting is great, but some exposure to scouting is better than none. So this, again, is an in-school program. When I say in-school, it can be delivered in a classroom or in an after-school setting. So this program teaches character modules. So it focuses, be kind, be polite, be respectful, leadership skills, teamwork skills, team building skills, perseverance. So it is meant to infuse scouting's character competencies within young people within the school setting. Because again, we believe some exposure to scouting's character-based programming is better than none. So this program you could easily call Scouting Light. It's everything you could do within a school setting, right? You can't go on the 5-mile hike, can't sit by and make a campfire, make a s'more, but it's character components, character modules delivered within the school setting. So would be more than happy to speak with anybody in the future if there's more interest. And I think that is all we have. So thank you very much for having us. Just leave this here.
All right, thank you. Thank you, Mr. Solberg, Mr. McKed, and Mr. Rhodes for the presentation. Let me see if there are any questions or comments from the board about the presentation. I'll have a few. I'll just jump in here. And so some of this is my ignorance about the organization. How are the troops organized? Is it by school? Is it by what's the affinity that draws or makes a troop a troop?
So our model is partnering with what we call charter organizations. Mm-hmm. So whether that's a civic club, a church, you name it, it could almost be a charter organization. So VFWs, American Legions, Rotary Clubs are all charter partners with us, and they help us select adult leadership for any one of our units, whether it's a pack or a troop. And then packs are tend to be more school focused or neighborhood based. So one pack may draw from 3 schools total, whereas troops are a little more spiderwebby and can go to more draw youth from more places.
I see. Okay, thanks. And then the character counts program that was spoken about earlier, and you talked about collaboration with schools. Is that generally done within school hours? Is that more of an after-school program? Could you speak a bit about
it's both. Some schools have asked us to come in and deliver it within the school setting, within the classroom setting. Others are asking us to do it as an after-school program, and we're open to both.
Got it. Okay. All right. Thank you. Please say.
I had some question. Thank you all for being here, including the kids and their families. How long has your program regarding the special needs and abilities awareness scouting has been serving?
It was launched at the beginning of last school year. So it was launched in August. We are currently serving nearly 14 units and nearly 200 kids. And again, we're going into the school. We are bringing the staff that is trained to support and serve these young people and delivering it within that setting.
And is that specifically in the Polaris district, or is that like Northern California wide?
Right now, it is, because of its infancy, it will become a council-wide initiative. Okay. But for the first 1.5, 2 years, we wanted to keep it close and contained. So it's almost like turning up dials. Okay, we could improve this. This needs a little bit. So once we get it fully refined, which it is very much along that path now, we will be exporting it to the entire council territory. And so this is one of those forays where we are ready to take steps outside of San Jose.
So you are saying that within the Polaris district and CUSD, yes, we are the incubator of the special needs and abilities awareness scouting.
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, that's very good here. Thank you for giving this opportunity, especially for our students.
Yeah, and this is, and just to place a little bit of weight on this, this is truly meant to be a national model. And so we're kind of setting the tone, the tenor, and the framework for other scouting councils to emulate. We truly believe, again, as mentioned, we are one of the most diverse councils, and we actually have a committee of board members. It's called the Scouting is for Everyone Committee. And it literally says all the conversation is how can we serve as many people as possible to expose them to character and values.
Thank you for the information and all your efforts in inclusivity. Thanks.
Satish.
Thanks a lot, and really appreciate you coming here and sharing this information. So I know that this youth, they do involve in a lot of projects actually, which is because even as a PTA leader, once upon a time, I used to interact with them to get some, support in the school, like making some planter boxes and other things. Like, so could you list some of the things, because I know all these things would be, you are developing through some projects or some group activities. Some of these things, do you list or just what? Yeah.
Oh, that list could go for probably years.
Okay.
I know we've got some units that are doing service projects right now at, they're more Sunnyvale based, but they're cleaning up gardens at Sunnyvale. One of the schools I went and spoke to at the end of last school year has one of those similar outdoor classrooms that would be a good project for one of our troops to step up and help clean up and get ready for them. Yeah, the list is endless is what the possibilities are and what kids have done.
Yeah, so I'm interested in, is it how big is these projects are like kind of, it'll be a few days of work, it could be a few continuation of like 2 months of work or
So,
yeah,
so I think a couple components here is every scouting unit is required to provide service to community.
Okay.
Is a component of scouting. Each unit looks at their particular community through the lens of their volunteers and the values and things that are important to them, and they do service work, which could be litter cleanup. It could be painting benches. It's a wide variety. We have a young gentleman who was back there. He's not. He's working on his Eagle Scout service project. So every Eagle Scout cannot be awarded that award until they complete a significant service project to the community. And as a great example, something we're very proud of, the winner of every year we award the Superior Eagle Scout project out of the council. The gentleman last year, through his father's an engineer, but through 3D printing and various technologies, he built 10 prosthetic arms that were sent to a country that has landmines, and kids had lost their arms because they picked something up, and so those were made, those were deployed, and they're actually all in use. So this is kind of the significance of some of these projects. Some of these kids do just incredible things.
On the note of service projects, it is also worth mentioning that every year Scouts traditionally participate in the November project, Scouting for Food, where we collect tons and tons of food throughout our 4-county area, deliver it to food banks. And then in September, we also do the coastal cleanup.
Thank you very much. Really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you for the presentation. Yeah, I remember when my son was in the Cub Scouts, and yeah, we were there for 2 years, and we went to for camping, and like you said, we have say food collection and creek cleaning. Yeah, it was a fun time. Yeah, I'm wondering, say, do you have say already have some relationship with some district already? And so what kind of service do you provide? I mean, say, what do you do with them?
Relationships with these other districts.
You're asking about relationships with other districts?
Yeah, right. So with
So I think maybe the best way is you have unit activities where they will go and determine what their service project is. And then there are multi units that come together within a district. But then there are district-wide, multi-district-wide, and then council-wide service projects. So they kind of go from Acorn grassroots to Scouting for Food, which collects, over 500,000 pounds of food. It's in fact the largest food insecurity, campaign in the area. So they range from kids going out, our youngest scouts may go out for a half hour or 45 minutes and collect litter, where our Eagle Scout projects take months and months. And so there's council-wide, there's district-wide, there's unit-wide, unit collective-wide.
I'm hoping too that we can get a picture with the pack and the board.
Sure. Okay.
We'd like to get a picture with everybody with the board if we could as well.
Yeah, I'd like to get one more question in. Yeah.
Yes.
So just hold on, we'll get the picture. I actually would like to hear from the scouts. I know some of you were up helping us calibrate the microphone during recess, so I guess. So if anybody would like, I'd love to hear about what's your favorite part about scouting? So if anybody would like to come up, just
Come on.
and please introduce yourself and tell us what's your favorite part about scouting.
Hello, my name is Aryan, and my most favorite part of scouting would probably be either scouting for food, because I feel better when I know that people that can't get food can actually eat something. And we're doing all the stuff that counts towards everybody, not just everybody who has a roof above their head, and also the camps, because they're really fun.
All right, thank you. Thank you, Aryan. Okay. Any other volunteers?
Favorite part?
Totally optional.
Favorite part of scouting?
You can do it.
Yeah, come on up. It's
What's your favorite part of scouting?
Hi, my name is Alan. My favorite part of scouting would probably be the camping, because I like the feeling of the tent and the sound of the mosquitoes that thankfully don't know I'm in the tent, buzzing around the tent.
okay. All right, thank you. Thank you, Alan.
Anybody else?
One more?
Okay, we'll get one more folks up here. All right. Okay.
Two more.
Oh, two more, yeah.
Favorite part of scouting?
My favorite part of scouting is camping, because like when I'm in the tent, I can hear the crickets.
Oh, yes. All right, thank you.
My favorite part of scouting is making the derby car, because you can race with the derby car.
All right, sounds like fun. Thank you. Thanks so much. All right, let's maybe come up here for a picture.
Well, we'll get.
Okay, the next item on the agenda, item D, is superintendent's report. So Superintendent Yao.
All right, thank you. So since our last board meeting, we actually have started the school year, and over the last, this is our third week technically, I have had the opportunity to try to get out to most of our TK classes. It is exciting to see the energy that comes with the TK. Also nice to see, we had went through a lot of work over the summer, getting those TK tables in, make a huge difference where those kids are eating at, working on securing the playground. So that work, some of it is still in progress, but actually very exciting to see it out there happening. And that is a reflection of the Measure Z fund. So I always want to say that huge thank you to our community for funding our Measure Z and allowing us to move forward on this work. Seeing some of the other area, our fencing is almost completed around most of our campuses on the perimeter, still waiting on some of the gates in the areas, but some of those finishing touches, seeing some of the asphalt work, our roofs, not real exciting, but our roofs have had a lot of work over the summer. So just all of that work with the Measure Z, and so appreciative of that. The other exciting for us as we kicked off the school year is we did a refocus or a focus for staff, continuing our journey with the portrait of a learner. As we spent the last 2 years on the kind of the what and the why, now we're moving more intensely into the how. And so we have selected 2 of our competencies that everyone is going to focus on. Staff had an opportunity when we kicked off the year in August. They get to choose one of 4 pathways. That will be incorporated throughout the work of the year. We've added minimum days throughout the school year, really as a response to what staff had said, is they need that time to collaborate with their colleagues. And so we're excited to see the work that we're headed into as we continue that journey, and super excited because in May on our Learning Day, we'll have an opportunity to do some of that showcasing to what we've accomplished over the years. So let's see where we go in this journey.
All right, thank you. Excellent. Okay, the next item is communication from employee organizations. Do we have any speakers tonight, Erin?
We do. We have CEA President Kate Lee.
Okay. All right. Welcome, President Lee.
Good evening, Board of Trustees, Superintendent Yao, our Executive Cabinet, and our wonderful CUSD teachers and community. Yesterday was the 10th day of school for our students, except Murdoch Portel, who is always ahead of the school start. But what does that signify? What has been going on for our students, teachers, and staff these last 10 days? Well, the answers are different depending on what perspective, who you are. For teachers, we've been focused on creating a safe, inclusive learning environment in our classrooms, developing classroom agreements or rules with our students for the year, teaching procedures to make the classroom and all the work get run and go smoothly. We prepared for and welcomed parents to back to school nights and curriculum nights to share the exciting things as well as the mundane responsibilities for students and parents in their new grade and classes. Teachers have been focusing on learning about their students, knowing all their names, even their last names, and pronouncing them correctly, very important. What their hopes and dreams are, what their concerns and fears are, how they best learn, what environments are best for them, and what are their intelligences that are strengths, and what are their favorite subjects. What subjects don't they like and why? How can we help support them socially and emotionally? What academic gaps might there be that we want to address and help them with? What gets them engaged and excited to learn and participate? We do this not just at the beginning of the year, but all year. Students, on the other hand, have been focused on seeing their old friends and making new ones, figuring out what interests them now for recess and lunchtime breaks, because it can radically change from year to year. Feeling comfortable in their new classroom and with their new teacher, and knowing that they can come to their teacher for whatever they need. That's what we're here for. Students have also been focused on clubs and teams to join, and new menus for snacks and lunches, especially if they are new to middle school. They are so psyched about the new food choices they get. They may also be stressing out. And as teachers, we are always checking in on that. There are so many changes all at once for students when the new school year starts. There's friendships and classmates have changed. They might be dreading one subject or another, thinking they aren't good enough and will fail. They might also be thinking the opposite, that they already know everything and they don't really need to engage in class and learning. Teachers notice these. And we make sure to support both extremes or both ends of the spectrum. We bolster and provide extra support to master the standards and provide challenging, engaging learning and opportunities for all our students, especially those that need that extra challenge. There are many, many, many of our staff that work throughout the year, throughout the summer, and make it all possible to return to a smooth school start. And I'd like to just name a couple. So they're all busy and we've been working over the summer, but students would not be so excited about ordering food from our CUSD kitchens if our nutritional services director, Nicole Metzke, did I pronounce that right? Metzke, thank you. It wasn't doing such an amazing job. Her and her fantastic staff at sites, if they hadn't put in so much work and time to develop the menus, create good systems for processing student orders and other important preparations for our kitchens and food service staff at all our sites, the kids wouldn't be so excited and it wouldn't be running so smoothly. So a huge thank you to all of them. Another important part of the first 10 student days that is running in the background all the time is assigning all these students to classrooms and sites under the required ratios of students and teachers for all the different grades and classes. Erin Lindsay has done an amazing job as always, managing that so well. And I know that that it's it's a big work, and it doesn't just start like a couple days before school. She's working on it all through the year, but it's particularly at the end of the school year and over the summer and at the beginning of the school year. She managed that so well, and I know that she worked really hard. And but also, I don't know how she works her magic. She gets it all done. But also she works really collaboratively and working together with us as we're trying to figure out what will be best and, managing to make sure that she meets all those requirements because things pop up and, knowing that we can work together to resolve them is really important. In general, many administrators and ed services have also been working hard over the summer to address legal and ed code changes and the requirements. And I really appreciate working together and collaboratively with them before the school year started and as the school year continues. We're facing a difficult year with many challenges given our structural budget deficit, and I look forward to our budget advisory meeting next week where we can look over the most recent budget reports and continue to work together to address and resolve the financial challenges we faced. And I just think it's really key. We need to collaborate. We need to work together. We are all here for our students and for the good of the district, and we will find these solutions. And I really appreciate that the district is looking at these early on this year, and we look forward to working together, but also protecting our teachers and our members to make sure that we are also looking out for them and that nothing falls too much on them, that we all do this together to make things go well for our students and community and our staff. Thank you very much.
Thank you, President Lee. All right, next item is public comments. So this is a part of the meeting where for the public to make comments on items that are not on the agenda tonight. Do we have any speakers tonight?
We do. We have one.
All right, let's welcome them.
Our first and only speaker is Chris Nutter.
Oh.
Very different setting. Oh my God, compared to the spring when it was all full, the news was out and everything. Wild, so different. Hi everyone. So 21 years into my career, and we all know we're squeezing money out of a rock right now. It's really hard. And I just want to recognize that tightening budgets and kind of unnecessarily constrictive bureaucratic practices are leaving teachers really scrambling to meet basic student needs. So I would like to suggest some reforms that I think teachers across the district and perhaps an admin would welcome as well. I think they would definitely help staff better pursue board goals around Portrait of a Learner. So first, purchasing and reimbursement policies have created a stifling environment that limits teacher creativity and our ability to react quickly to student needs. The dissolution of individual classroom funds, the requirements that purchases be pre-approved, and vague donation language to parents means funds are increasingly spent on basics, like class funds, cardstock, index cards, etc., instead of materials that would reach deeper learning. We also only have 10 days to submit receipts. We really requested that would be extended perhaps to 30. With only 10 days, teachers are either going to end up paying out of pocket way more than they did in the past, or simply not make purchases. One example, to meet 5th grade science standards, I want to buy some stromatolites. Those are fossils of billion-year-old bacteria that contributed to creating a breathable atmosphere. I would need to have this pre-approved or go through CEF. CEF does wonderful work, but it shouldn't take a grant for teachers to do this for things that aren't that expensive. I think that would probably get denied under our current climate, and that really is going to constrict deeper learning. Another one, I think this is really important, is we really need access to printers. This is just a big thing. Printer cartridges are not getting granted. And this is a big deal. Toner needs to be prioritized. Small but essential tasks, like maybe like whipping out a translation of a material for an EL, or like finding a task that would meet the need of a really bright, but bored student, become really difficult. My room is 367 feet from the nearest printer right now. The other day I was struggling with, I hadn't updated my Uniflow, and I had to walk back and forth 3 times during my lunch hour. I actually did the math. It was it was 0.379 miles. So that was 2,202 feet that I had to walk just to get 2 pieces of paper printed at lunch. So we really need toner. is going to help us in multiple ways. We need that stuff. Lastly, I think we have to be more direct and open with parents about how dire the situation is. We saw how the Cupertino community rallied, particularly under the leadership of Sandy Leo, when we were facing situations like this. So I think it's right to emphasize the parents required. I'm the only one, so it's okay. I'm going to keep going. But the caution means parents don't know how dire the situation is because we're saying you don't need to donate. So I think if we were a little bit more open, and if we were seeking collaboration with, activist parents who become board members or made the impact Sandy had, we can use community support to help us get over this. Thank you for your time.
All right. Thank you, Chris. Okay. All right. Next section, action items. We have one action item tonight. It's the adoption of an item that we previously discussed. Is there a staff introduction to this before?
Since it's action, you do need to have a motion on the table.
Okay. All right. And then I'll entertain a
I'll
motion.
go ahead and move.
Thank you, Ava. And could I get a second, please?
I'll second it.
Thanks, Satish. Is there
No staff presentation.
no staff
We
presentation?
did talk on this at our August 7th, so this is bringing the refinance for us.
Okay. Any questions or comments from the board? If not, are there public comments on this item?
No, they're not.
Okay, in that case, then the roll call vote, please.
Trustee Zhao,
Aye.
Trustee Chow,
Aye.
Trustee Leon,
Aye.
Trustee Manhattan,
Aye.
Trustee Lu.
Aye. All right, the motion passes. Go ahead, moving on to section H, consent. We have 7 consent calendar items tonight. Could I get a motion, please?
I move to pass it.
Thanks, Long. And a second?
I can second.
Thanks, Sylvia. Okay, roll call.
Trustee Zhao,
Aye.
Trustee Chow,
Aye.
Trustee Leon,
Aye.
Trustee Manhattan,
Aye.
Trustee Lu.
Aye. Okay. All right, moving on, board activities. Anybody like to share what they've been up to since the last board meeting?
I can
Surely.
go ahead and share.
All right, thank you, Ava.
Well, since the last board meeting, I went to the Collins TK parent orientation, which was last week. And then I came back this week, Collins again, but this time it was for the upper grades and lower grades. Unfortunately, I just sat in one classroom just to see how the orientations looked again, but I think next time I'll try to sit 15 minutes for each classroom, and then I get to see a taste of more of the different styles of the teachers. And I think in the classrooms that I did go in, it was 80-70% parent participation. Last week I went to CLIP, and you know how CLIP does a collaboration of the English speaking and the Chinese speaking teachers. So you basically, the room was chock full and it was really good. And there was a lot of parents that turned out and some familiar faces. So it was really good. And then this Tuesday, went back to Kennedy. So Kennedy had the back to school night, and it's very similar to high school format where you sit there for, I think, 10 minutes and you go on to the next period. But since I don't have any kids in there yet, the web students, I'm like, okay, tell me where to go. And so they just told me where to go, and I sat in the classrooms in the back, and it was really good. But yeah, got some of our new teachers in there too.
Nice.
Yeah.
All right, thanks, Ava. Anybody else like to share? You all did things.
I also was able to attend a few back to school nights and principals' coffees at Eisenhower, Dilworth, Garden Gate. Gosh, I'm forgetting one. But it's been really fun, especially talking to the TK parents and just seeing how excited they are, all the questions that they have. The teachers have been amazing at creating that welcoming, inclusive environment, and really just bringing the kids in. It's been really good. I also participated in a panel last week that was held in Sunnyvale. They invited a representative from each. There's 5 school districts that serve the city of Sunnyvale, and was able to give an update on what's going on. They had questions about construction, bond, EV, all those kinds of things. And so that was a good opportunity to kind of share what was going on there. And then I also attended the Silicon Valley Youth Climate Summit, which was really, really cool. And there are kids that they're high school, but they're from our district. So they graduated out of a couple of McCullough alumni, a couple of Hyde and Kennedy alumni who are student leaders in the organization and doing amazing things now at their high school. But I think there may be possibly some opportunities for us maybe to continue to support them even at the middle school level with the things that they're doing about climate change. Really wanting, I feel like our future is really bright with these kids in charge. So, yeah.
All right. Thanks, Sylvia. Anyone else like to share? Please.
Yeah, I also went to back to school night, but as a parent. Listened about say the fifth grade science camp presentation, and also say classroom presentations and the principal's presentation and the PTA. Okay, it was great. And so yeah, another thing that say last Saturday, Jerry, Satish, and I went to Kids Fun Festival. It's Cupertino. Okay, it was a great activity.
No. Just yeah. Okay. So for myself, I just maybe just add on to what Long shared. It's an organization. I think it's called Taiwanese or Taiwan Cultural and Sports Association. They used to put on these what's called Happy Kids Day, and this year they've expanded it to more of an international flavor. It's their 15th year. It's an organization. They just take over Memorial Park for a whole day. So it's really great. So I want to thank them for bringing that event and helping to sort of introduce folks to different cultures. I also visited two schools. There are the two new principals in my little cluster. So Principal Sugimura over at Nimitz and Principal Mock over at Muir. We got some great leaders. I had a chance to really talk to them. I learned about escape rooms. I'm trying to get Yvonne to see maybe they can do an astronomy kind of thing. I told her I own 6 telescopes, and I'm very happy to volunteer. But I think, I think one of the themes I came across, I was talking to them, was the support they're getting from Ed Services. So Allison, a call out to you and your crew and the directors. In fact, one of them got a phone call to check in while I was in the office. And just the sort of the welcoming and the folks checking in on them and answering questions. And that was just really, it made me feel really good about how well our process worked. I guess I had never had a chance to talk to a site leader about what's onboarding for a site leader like. I've seen onboarding for teachers, but when you're a site leader, and this seems like we have a really good system running here. So thank you, and appreciated them taking time out of their schedule to chat with me when they're getting settled in. So.
I have one.
Please, yes.
I think the first time from Cupertino City, they invited us for Indian independence. So myself and Sylvia represented the board there. So it was good. Mayor and others along with that, and the Indian Consul General, he was there, and it was a good thing. Like we represented all of you there.
All right, great. Okay, then moving on, the agenda settings. Does anyone have any items that I could place on a future agenda? Okay, can always email folks. And then I guess we're gonna move on to a closed session. But before that, I want to check, are there any public comments on our closed session items tonight?
No, we do not.
Okay, with that then, given that's the case, I'm just gonna go on to closed session. I'll go ahead and adjourn us to closed session at 6:42.